Today, I want to talk about peace. Not the kind of peace that depends on money, success, or other people, but a quiet peace that comes from inside. Life is not always kind. Things go wrong. People disappoint us. Plans fail. Stoicism teaches us that peace is not found by changing the world, but by changing how we face it. Here are 6 simple Stoic habits that can bring peace into your everyday life. Focusing on what you can control is one of the most powerful habits for a peaceful life. Much of our stress comes from trying to manage things were never in our hands to begin with. We worry about the future, about what people think of us, about outcomes that depend on chance or other people's choices. This habit slowly drains our energy and leaves us feeling helpless. Peace begins when we clearly see the line between what belongs to us and what does not. There are only a few things that truly belong to us. Our thoughts, our choices, our actions, and our effort are within our control. How hard we try, how honestly we act, and how we respond to situations are always ours to decide. Everything else exists outside that circle. Other people's behavior, their words, their opinions, and their reactions are not ours to command. The past cannot be changed, and the future cannot be forced. When we accept this truth, the mind becomes calmer. Many people suffer not because of events, but because of their judgments about those events. A delay becomes an insult. A mistake becomes a disaster. A criticism becomes a personal attack. When we focus on what we can control, we stop adding extra pain to situations. We learn to say, "This happened, but how I respond is up to me." This simple shift returns power to the mind. In daily life, this habit requires awareness. When something upsets you, pause and ask yourself a simple question. Is this within my control? If it is not, holding on to anger or fear will not change it. Worry will not fix it. Complaining will not improve it. Letting go is not giving up. It is choosing peace over struggle. When the answer is yes, then act with full effort and attention, without fear of the result. Focusing on control also changes how we deal with failure. When we place our peace on results, we become fragile. Success makes us proud, and failure destroys us. But results depend on many factors outside our control. Effort, preparation, and intention are what truly belong to us. When you focus on doing your best rather than winning, losing no longer defines you. You remain steady, regardless of outcome. This habit also improves relationships. We often try to control how others think, feel, or behave. This leads to frustration and disappointment. When we accept that others act according to their own nature and experiences, we stop taking everything personally. We speak honestly, act kindly, and allow others to be themselves. This creates space for calm and respect instead of constant tension. Focusing on what you can control also helps in moments of fear. Fear often comes from imagining outcomes we cannot manage. The mind races ahead, creating problems that may never happen. By returning attention to what can be done right now, fear loses its grip. You may not control tomorrow, but you can control this moment. One small, steady action is enough. Over time, this habit builds inner strength. You stop feeling like a victim of life and begin to feel grounded. You no longer waste energy fighting reality. Your attention becomes clear, your actions deliberate, and your mind more stable. Peace grows not because life becomes easier, but because you stop demanding control over what was never yours. Accepting life as it happens is not about giving up or becoming passive. It is about seeing reality clearly, without resistance or denial. Many people suffer because they argue with what already exists. They wish the past were different, the present easier, or the future guaranteed. This constant struggle against reality creates inner tension. Acceptance removes that tension and allows the mind to remain steady. Even when life is difficult, life does not follow our plans. Unexpected events arrive without warning. Loss, change, disappointment, and pain are part of the human experience. When we expect life to always be fair or comfortable, we set ourselves up for frustration. Acceptance begins with understanding that difficulty is not a mistake in life, but a natural part of it. Once this is understood, challenges feel less personal and less overwhelming. Accepting life does not mean approving of everything that happens. It means recognizing what is real in this moment. When something goes wrong, the event itself may be painful, but the added resistance often causes more harm than the event. Thoughts like, "This should not have happened," "I cannot accept this," keep the mind trapped in suffering. Acceptance frees the mind to respond wisely instead of emotionally. This habit teaches us to separate events from judgments. An event is simply what occurs. Our judgment decides whether it becomes a source of peace or distress. By choosing acceptance, we stop labeling situations as unbearable or unfair. We acknowledge them as they are and focus on how to move forward. This creates clarity and strength rather than bitterness. In everyday life, acceptance helps us handle small frustrations with calm. Delays, mistakes, and inconveniences are unavoidable. When we resist them, our mood suffers. When we accept them, they lose their power. The situation remains the same, but our inner state improves. This is not because we stop caring, but because we stop fighting what cannot be changed in that moment. Acceptance also plays a key role in emotional balance. Feelings arise naturally, whether we want them or not. Trying to suppress sadness, anger, or fear often makes them stronger. Accepting emotions means allowing them to exist without judgment. You notice them, understand them, and let them pass in their own time. This approach brings emotional calm instead of inner conflict. This habit strengthens resilience. When life becomes hard, acceptance prevents panic. Instead of asking why something happened, the mind asks how to respond. This shift transforms obstacles into challenges that can be faced with patience and effort. The energy that was once wasted on resistance is now used for action and growth. Accepting life also helps with change. Everything changes whether we are ready or not. Holding tightly to how things used to be creates suffering. Acceptance allows us to adapt. It helps us move forward without being trapped by regret or fear. When change is accepted, it becomes a teacher rather than an enemy. Over time, this habit brings a quiet form of peace. The mind becomes less reactive and more grounded. Life may still be unpredictable, but the inner response becomes stable. Acceptance teaches us to stand firm in reality, without illusions or complaints, facing each moment as it comes with calm attention and steady effort. Practicing gratitude daily is a simple habit, but its effect on the mind is profound. Most people spend their days noticing what is missing, what went wrong, or what they wish they had. This constant focus on lack creates tension and dissatisfaction. Gratitude shifts attention from what is absent to what is present, from complaint to appreciation. It trains the mind to see value in ordinary moments and ordinary things. Gratitude begins with awareness. Many things in life are easy to take for granted. The air we breathe, the sunlight that warms us, the food that nourishes us, the roof over our head, and even our health in small ways are gifts we often ignore. When the mind pauses to recognize these, it realizes how much is already enough. Simple acknowledgement of what exists daily builds a foundation of peace that does not depend on outside circumstances. This habit also changes how we experience challenges. When difficulties arise, the mind naturally looks at what is wrong. By practicing gratitude, we add balance to this view. Even in hardship, there is something to appreciate: a lesson learned, a strength discovered, a moment of kindness, or even the fact that we are still moving forward. Gratitude does not remove pain, but it lessens the weight of suffering by reminding the mind of what remains good. Daily gratitude can be practiced in small ways. Some people write a short list each morning of 3 things they are thankful for. Others take a quiet moment at night to reflect on moments that brought warmth or relief during the day. Even silently noticing small comforts, like a warm cup of tea, a kind word from someone, or the sound of birds outside, reinforces a sense of abundance. The more the mind focuses on these, the more naturally it begins to notice them without effort. Gratitude also strengthens relationships. When we recognize the kindness, support, or presence of others, we feel connected rather than isolated. Expressing thanks, even in small gestures, creates trust and warmth. When both giving and receiving gratitude become a habit, interactions become calmer, gentler, and more meaningful. A grateful mind is less prone to resentment, envy, or impatience. This habit reshapes perspective on success and failure. People often tie happiness to achievement or material gain. When gratitude is present, satisfaction comes not only from results, but also from the journey itself. Effort, learning, perseverance, and small victories become meaningful. Even setbacks can be seen as opportunities to grow or gain insight. Gratitude allows the mind to find contentment in what exists, rather than what is missing. Gratitude also promotes resilience. In moments of stress or loss, recalling what is good provides mental stability. The mind has a center of calm, a reminder that even if some things are lost, some things remain. This inner reference point becomes a source of strength when external circumstances are uncertain or difficult. Finally, gratitude nurtures mindfulness. By focusing on what is present and valuable, the mind is naturally brought into the moment. Worries about the past or future fade when attention rests on what is real and good now. This connection with the present increases clarity, reduces distraction, and brings peace. Daily gratitude is a quiet force. It does not require grand gestures, wealth, or extraordinary events. It is simple awareness, repeated each day, that the world offers moments of value and beauty. By noticing and appreciating them, the mind grows steady, calm, and balanced, finding contentment not in what is missing, but in what already exists. Controlling your reactions is one of the most powerful ways to maintain inner calm. Life constantly presents challenges, unexpected events, and difficult people. It is easy to react immediately with anger, fear, or frustration, but these quick reactions often cause more harm than the events themselves. The habit of controlling your response means learning to pause, observe, and choose how to act rather than acting impulsively. This is not about suppressing emotion, but about directing energy wisely. Every event in life has two parts: what happens and how you respond. The first part is often beyond your control. People may speak harshly, circumstances may change suddenly, plans may fail. These things occur without asking your permission. The second part, your response, is entirely within your control. Anger, anxiety, impatience, or calmness are all choices. By focusing on your response, you reclaim power in situations that might otherwise feel overwhelming. Emotions are natural and arise automatically. Feeling upset, hurt, or anxious is part of being human. The key is not to let these emotions dictate action. When you react immediately, you often regret it later. Words spoken in anger cannot be unsaid. Decisions made in panic are rarely wise. By learning to observe emotions without acting on them instantly, you create space to respond thoughtfully and effectively. This habit requires awareness and practice. The first step is noticing the moment before reacting. Even a few seconds of pause can make a difference. During that pause, you can ask yourself, what is under my control right now? What action, if any, will serve me best? This small interruption prevents impulsive behavior and allows reason to guide the response rather than unchecked emotion. Controlling reactions also strengthens relationships. Misunderstandings, arguments, and resentment often grow from uncontrolled reactions. By responding calmly, you prevent unnecessary conflict and model stability to others. You may disagree, but your calmness communicates respect for yourself and for the other person. Over time, this habit fosters trust, understanding, and more harmonious interactions. This practice also reduces stress. Much of human suffering comes from reacting to events as if they are threats. Quick judgments, complaints, and negative thoughts multiply pressure on the mind. By choosing deliberate responses, the mind stays steady. You conserve energy that would otherwise be spent on agitation and redirect it toward problem-solving or constructive action. In daily life, controlling reactions can apply to small and large situations alike. Traffic jams, delays, or criticism can test patience. Pausing to breathe, to reflect, and to choose your action prevents frustration from taking hold. In more significant challenges, such as personal loss or failure, this habit allows the mind to maintain clarity. The event may be painful, but your response can remain measured and deliberate. Over time, controlling your reactions builds inner freedom. When external circumstances are unpredictable, the ability to remain calm and composed becomes a stable source of strength. You are no longer a prisoner of events or the behavior of others. Instead, your mind becomes a place of choice, guided by reason and steady judgment. This habit transforms ordinary moments into opportunities to practice resilience and patience. Living by strong values is a practice that brings clarity and steadiness to life. Many people drift through their days reacting to circumstances, following desires, or chasing approval from others. Without a guiding principle, the mind becomes unsettled, and decisions feel heavy or confusing. Values serve as a compass, pointing toward what is right, meaningful, and consistent, even when external events are unpredictable or difficult. When your actions align with your principles, you act with purpose, and the mind finds calm. Values are the standards by which we judge our actions and choices. They can include honesty, integrity, kindness, courage, patience, or responsibility. These are not mere ideals to think about, they are practical guides for daily life. A decision guided by values is clear, even in the face of pressure or uncertainty. When you know what matters most, hesitation decreases because the answer lies in alignment with your principles, rather than in chasing temporary comfort or approval. Living by values also simplifies choices. Life presents countless options, and without clear guidance, it is easy to be distracted or confused. When you act according to what you believe is right, decisions become easier. You no longer waste energy wondering if an action will please others or bring temporary reward. The focus shifts from external outcomes to internal integrity, which builds confidence and reduces regret. This habit strengthens the mind against temptation and inconsistency. Desire, fear, or social pressure often pull people away from their best selves. Acting in accordance with values provides a steady anchor. Even if the path is difficult, the mind experiences satisfaction because effort matches principle. Challenges may still exist, but the internal response is grounded, not swayed by every passing situation or emotion. Living by values also deepens relationships. People naturally trust those whose actions are consistent with their words. When you act with honesty and kindness, others feel safe and respected. Relationships become clearer, more meaningful, and less fraught with tension. In moments of conflict, values guide the response, preventing reactive behavior that could damage connections. Acting with principle communicates stability and reliability, which fosters respect from others. This habit also supports long-term fulfillment. Temporary pleasures may provide brief satisfaction, but peace comes from knowing your life is guided by meaningful principles. Effort invested in growth, integrity, and care for others produces a sense of purpose. When the mind looks back, it recognizes a life shaped by deliberate choices rather than chance or impulse, which strengthens a sense of contentment. Living by values requires reflection and self-awareness. It is not enough to hold abstract ideas, they must be tested in everyday situations. When faced with difficulty, stress, or moral ambiguity, ask yourself, what would be right here? Acting in alignment with your answer, even when inconvenient or uncomfortable, reinforces the habit. With repeated practice, it becomes automatic, and the mind naturally gravitates toward choices that reflect inner principles. Over time, living by values creates a steady inner rhythm. External events remain unpredictable, and people may act unfairly or unpredictably. But the mind retains a sense of direction and strength. Values provide a stable foundation that is not shaken by chance, opinion, or difficulty. By letting actions reflect deeply held principles, the mind becomes calm, purposeful, and resilient, able to navigate life with clarity and quiet confidence. Practicing gratitude daily is a simple habit, yet it has a profound impact on the mind and spirit. Many people move through life noticing only what is missing, what went wrong, or what they wish were different. This focus on lack creates tension, dissatisfaction, and restlessness. Gratitude shifts attention from what is absent to what is present, from complaint to appreciation. It trains the mind to notice the value in ordinary moments and ordinary things, creating a foundation of calm and contentment that does not depend on external circumstances. Gratitude begins with awareness. Life provides countless things that are easy to overlook: the air we breathe, the warmth of the sun, the comfort of shelter, the availability of food, and small daily comforts that often go unnoticed. By pausing to recognize these simple blessings, the mind begins to see that life already offers enough. This acknowledgement does not require grand achievements or material wealth. It simply requires attention to what exists and a willingness to appreciate it. This habit also changes the way challenges are experienced. Difficulties, setbacks, and losses are unavoidable, yet people often focus entirely on what is painful. Gratitude balances this view by encouraging the mind to notice what remains good. Even in hardship, there are moments or aspects to appreciate: a lesson learned, a small act of kindness, a moment of beauty, or the ability to continue moving forward. By holding both reality and gratitude together, suffering loses some of its intensity. Gratitude can be practiced in small ways throughout the day, Some people write a short list each morning of things they are thankful for. Others take quiet moments at night to reflect on positive events or experiences from the day, even noticing small comforts, such as a warm meal, the sound of birds, or the presence of a supportive friend, reinforces a sense of abundance. The more the mind is trained to recognize these moments, the more naturally appreciation arises, and life begins to feel richer. Gratitude also strengthens relationships. Recognizing and appreciating the efforts and presence of others builds connection and trust. Expressing thanks, even in small gestures, fosters goodwill and reduces tension. When both giving and receiving gratitude become habitual, interactions become smoother and more harmonious. The mind is less prone to envy, resentment, or impatience, and relationships become a source of calm rather than stress. This habit also reshapes the way success and failure are perceived. Many tie happiness to achievement, wealth, or recognition, but gratitude shows that contentment does not rely solely on results. Effort, learning, perseverance, and small daily victories become meaningful. Even setbacks can be appreciated for the lessons they provide, and the mind remains centered rather than tossed by each outcome. Gratitude promotes resilience in the face of adversity. When challenges arise, recalling what is positive provides a mental anchor. Even when external circumstances are difficult, the mind has a reference point of stability. This awareness allows people to navigate hardship with steadiness, preserving energy and focus for what can be controlled, rather than being consumed by despair. Gratitude naturally encourages mindfulness. By focusing on the present and what is already valuable, the mind turns away from regrets about the past or worries about the future. The act of noticing and appreciating draws attention to the current moment, increasing clarity, reducing distraction, and fostering a sense of calm. Daily practice of gratitude trains the mind to recognize abundance rather than scarcity, presence rather than absence, and stability rather than chaos. By embedding gratitude into daily life, the mind slowly shifts its perspective. What was once taken for granted becomes meaningful. Simple events, ordinary objects, and fleeting moments are recognized as sources of value and comfort. The habit of gratitude transforms perception, creating a quiet, steady satisfaction that persists even amidst challenges, and nurtures an inner peace that is not dependent on what life gives or takes. Staying calm in both success and failure is a habit that cultivates steady peace in life. Many people allow their emotions to rise and fall with circumstances, celebrating victories with excessive excitement and reacting to setbacks with frustration, fear, or despair. This constant fluctuation creates instability in the mind. True calm comes from learning to maintain an even temperament, regardless of whether life seems favorable or difficult, recognizing that both success and failure are temporary and beyond complete control. Success can be tempting because it brings praise, reward, or recognition. It is natural to feel joy and pride when achievements are realized, but becoming attached to success can be dangerous. When the mind ties its sense of worth to outcomes, it becomes fragile. Praise may inflate the ego, and dependence on external validation can create anxiety about maintaining it. Staying calm in success means appreciating accomplishments without becoming attached or letting them define self-worth. It is about enjoying positive results while remaining grounded and aware that circumstances can change at any moment. Failure, on the other hand, often triggers strong negative reactions. Disappointment, regret, or self-blame can quickly overwhelm the mind, causing distress that may last far longer than the event itself. By practicing calmness in failure, the mind learns to respond without panic or harsh judgment. This does not mean ignoring mistakes or avoiding responsibility, but rather observing the situation clearly and determining what can be learned or corrected. Maintaining calm in these moments prevents unnecessary suffering and allows the mind to act with clarity and purpose. This habit requires a shift in perspective. Both success and failure are fleeting. Circumstances are influenced by many factors outside personal control, including chance, the actions of others, and timing. By remembering this, the mind does not exaggerate the importance of any single event. Joy or disappointment can still be felt, but they are tempered by understanding that neither defines the whole of life or the value of the person experiencing them. Daily practice helps reinforce this calm, In small successes, such as praise at work or minor achievements, observe the emotion without letting it dominate thought. Celebrate quietly, note the effort that led to the result, and return attention to the present moment. In small failures, such as mistakes or setbacks, pause before reacting. Ask yourself what is under your control and what can be done next. This deliberate approach prevents reactive emotions from overwhelming reason. This habit also improves relationships and interactions with others. In situations where others succeed or fail, responding with calm rather than envy, jealousy, or harsh judgment creates steadiness and trust. A calm presence inspires respect and demonstrates maturity. By avoiding extreme reactions, the mind remains focused on constructive actions rather than being distracted by emotion. Staying calm in success and failure strengthens resilience. Life is unpredictable, and unexpected events are inevitable. Those who remain steady do not collapse under difficulty, nor become arrogant in favorable circumstances. Calmness allows the mind to respond flexibly, making thoughtful decisions even in stress or uncertainty. It transforms challenges into opportunities for learning and growth, and prevents temporary victories from fostering overconfidence. Over time, this habit creates a stable inner life. Emotional reactions no longer control thoughts or behavior. Success is enjoyed without attachment, and failure is met without despair. The mind finds balance, seeing life's fluctuations clearly and responding with measured effort, rather than impulsive emotion. Calmness becomes a reliable source of strength, protecting the mind from extremes and providing a quiet, enduring sense of peace that persists regardless of external conditions. Remembering that everything passes is a habit that brings profound perspective and calm to life. People often suffer because they cling too tightly to moments, whether they are happy or painful. Joy, success, failure, loss, disappointment, and pain all arrive and leave in their own time. Nothing remains the same forever. When the mind holds this truth, it no longer becomes enslaved by circumstance, and peace emerges from understanding the impermanence of all things. Many difficulties in life come from resisting change or fearing the loss of what we value. People cling to relationships, positions, comforts, or even their own ideas about how life should be. When these inevitably shift or disappear, suffering arises. By remembering that everything is temporary, the mind learns to let go naturally, without desperation or attachment. Change is not an enemy, it is a constant law of life, and acceptance of this law is a source of inner stability. The same applies to moments of success or happiness. People often become attached to good times, seeking to prolong them, or wishing they could remain forever. Yet happiness is not permanent, and expecting it to last indefinitely leads to disappointment. Recognizing that all experiences are fleeting allows the mind to enjoy them fully, without fear or clinging. Joy can be experienced deeply, yet the mind remains steady, aware that the feeling is passing, and that nothing external can be held forever. This habit encourages a balanced view of both pleasure and pain. Life is a mix of experiences, and both are transient. A difficult moment may feel overwhelming at first, but with the understanding that it will pass, anxiety lessens. Similarly, a joyful experience is enriched when savored in full awareness of its impermanence. This perspective prevents the extremes of elation and despair from dominating the mind and fosters emotional equilibrium. Remembering impermanence also reduces fear of the future. Many people worry about what may come, imagining worst-case scenarios or endlessly planning to avoid pain. While preparation is practical, excessive fear arises from treating the future as permanent or certain. By remembering that all situations, even the most challenging, are temporary, fear loses its grip. The mind can face uncertainty with steadiness and clarity, focusing on actions that are meaningful rather than being consumed by imagined outcomes. This habit also fosters gratitude for the present moment. Knowing that nothing lasts forever encourages attention to what exists now. Moments of beauty, comfort, and connection become more precious because they are understood to be fleeting. Life is no longer taken for granted, and small experiences gain depth and significance. The mind develops an appreciation for the present without clinging, creating both awareness and serenity. Remembering impermanence strengthens resilience. When loss, failure, or hardship arrives, the understanding that it is temporary provides hope and endurance. The mind does not collapse under pressure, because it knows that circumstances will change. Patience grows naturally, and energy is directed toward action and learning rather than panic or despair. Even severe difficulties are met with a sense of proportion, which protects the mind from being overwhelmed. Finally, this habit encourages humility and balance. Pride in success is tempered by knowing it will pass, and sorrow in failure is eased by the same understanding. Life's highs and lows are viewed as part of a greater flow, and the mind stops clinging to extremes. By accepting the transient nature of everything, you cultivate a stable perspective that fosters calm, inner strength, and a quiet confidence that no external event can shake.